Welcome to the London Youth Express. I am Renata Leufen. Today I want to talk about the reality that I am having thoughts of suicide every day at this time in my life. I'm thinking of suicide every day at this time in my life. I don't know why. It is perhaps that there are too many pressures, too many disappointments, that the waiting has been too long, so long. Now, you will probably ask if I want to kill myself. I am thinking currently every day of killing myself, and I know I cannot kill myself because I still got to fulfill my destiny, and I got great promises for my life, and I know that I will live for still many years, and it's impossible for me to die before I have reached 150 years, and I'm positive that I will live even 250 and even 350 years. I'm thinking of suicide every day currently, and I know it's gonna stop, and I know it will stop, and I anticipate that these thoughts of suicide, which are actually thoughts of hopelessness and thoughts of disappointment and impatience, they will come repeatedly to me again and again to intimidate me and to just create hell on earth for me. I know that a number of you who are watching are thinking of suicide as well every day. We should meet up and come together and have a discussion about why life seems to be so hard, why we get these thoughts and why we get these feelings. Perhaps we are just overworked, burned out, or tired of feeling overloaded with responsibilities which we cannot bear. Perhaps we're just tired of waiting. Perhaps we just feel lonely. Perhaps all we need is some love and some kind words. I do not want to commit suicide. Sometimes I cry and pray and affirm that I will not take my own life. And I don't want any one of you to take your own life, no matter what you're going through, no matter how desperate and at the end you feel. Because there is this beautiful saying that after a time of great sadness, there will come a time of great joy. I'm currently going, for some reason I don't understand, through a time of great sadness, intimidation, a battle in the spirit, and I have to wage this battle. And I feel with you because you are in your own suicide battle at the moment. And suicide thoughts indicate that something is wrong. And I believe it's not so much that things are wrong, but more that we do not live our daily lives according to a schedule that is right for us and that makes us feel good and that makes us happy. I think suicide thoughts also arise from our desire to prove ourselves, to do things, to be somewhere else than where we currently are. A prophetess told me that it is really bad to fight against your current situation, the place where you are currently in life. And I believe this is true, because the more we fight against the situation we're currently in, the more we consider our own unhappiness, the more we feel stuck, the more damage we cause to ourselves, and the more we cement those things in our lives which we don't want. I'm currently thinking of suicide every day, and it's very painful because I know I can't kill myself. I obviously know about many ways how I could end my own life, and I could do all of them, but I know I can't do it. I know I can't really end my life in a situation which I believe is a situation of utmost despair and also utmost defeat. And I'm sad about the young people, many young people who are killing themselves every day, who are cutting themselves every day, and who are having severe mental problems and who are being abused, and no one listens and no one does anything, and who are unhappy. We got to address our own unhappiness, and we got to develop a real patience for life and expect good outcomes and expect that we will have a happy end. If we end our lives naturally, that means we, as they say, just die. And if we have achieved something good, if we've been true to ourselves, and if our lives end with a happy end, and we enter the realm of eternity with this happy end, happy feeling, then we will be okay. We need even more patience today than our fathers and mothers and grandparents and the generations before us, because life has become more and more complex and more difficult for many. And we have all so many unfulfilled dreams, so many unfulfilled hopes. And it's always so difficult when we know that if only this turned out right, I could move on and I could be there and I could be there. And some of us, including me, are facing so much resistance, especially in the spirit world. We're facing so many battles and situations which are critical turn out against us, and we have to bear it and we have to cope with it And we have to go through it. And we have to believe again. And we have to build up again. And we have to expect again. And we have to work even harder. For some people, everything seems to go easy. I'm not one of those lucky ones. For me, everything goes extremely hard. And if I think about the hardships I've endured so far, I would get completely depressed. And perhaps you're one of those people as well, who have to work so very, very hard. So very, very hard. And cope with so many misfortunes. And cope with so many bad situations. And cope with so many challenges. So, what should we do? We should feel the pain. We should acknowledge that we have suicide thoughts. We should be honest with ourselves. And we should make a plan to make our lives easier for ourselves. And we should believe that the things which we really desire, that we shall have them one day. This could be a day very, very far off. But we got to continue to believe, and we got to continue to expect, and we got to also believe that everything will turn out well for us in the end if we stand, if we don't commit suicide, and if we believe. And someone called Henry Dumont comes to my mind. He is the original founder of the Red Cross. He was a Swiss businessman. He founded the Red Cross. Then his business got into trouble. He got bankrupt. And in those days it was really a stigma to be bankrupt. So what did he do? He left Switzerland, and then he lived homeless for many, many years in Europe. In his old age, he returned to Switzerland, and somehow he managed to get a hut somewhere in the Alps. And a journalist happened to be there and hear about him talking about that he founded the Red Cross, and he got curious. And so Henry Dumont was sort of rediscovered in his old age. And I believe he died with at least some joy. So if your life isn't easy but difficult, you are in good company. My life is not easy, and it is very difficult. Let us think of each other, and let us support each other, and let us not commit suicide. Although everything in us says that would be the easiest option, that would be the best option, and we don't want to deal with the same problems, with the same stuff, with the same shit anymore. But let us not commit suicide. Let us stay alive. Let us believe. And when the thoughts of suicide come, when we imagine that we could be free from all this pain and all these problems, if we would just be, as we feel, bold enough to take our own lives. Let us just believe that something really good will happen in our lives and to us sooner or later, and that we have to go through these feelings and thoughts of suicide. We have to go through these perhaps seasons, perhaps even years of thinking about suicide every day. But let us believe that we are not alone in this situation and in this pain, that we are in a spiritual battle, and that the battle is hard. The battle is really hard. If we have this idea that it would all end, all this pain and all this sorrow and all these problems would immediately end if we just would end our own lives. This is the illusion. This is the deception. Let us acknowledge that we have a hard life. Let us acknowledge that we have a difficult life. Let us acknowledge that we're suffering, that life sometimes gets too much for us. Let us acknowledge that we are helpless from time to time, or often, or maybe every day. Let us acknowledge that we are looking for freedom and for redemption. And let us be honest and talk about our thoughts and feelings of committing suicide. And let us not think about how to kill ourselves, but let us think about how to stay alive and how to face the world and how to continue living day by day despite the thoughts and feelings of suicide. And if you're feeling that you want to kill yourself, and if you're thinking about killing yourself, don't do it. I don't do it, and you shouldn't do it. We will continue to suffer for some time, for a season, but I believe we will come out. We will come out. We will come out of these suicide thoughts and feelings. We're in the process of going through them. And sooner or later, this spirit that is behind suicide will know that we are not going to kill ourselves. And the fact that we continue to live, although we are unhappy, hurting, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to resolve certain problems, feeling suicide, thinking suicide, alone this fact, I think, speaks for us and elevates humanity. By staying alive and continuing to live, although we don't want to live anymore and all we want is to die, we give hope to humanity. We encourage humanity, and we do what is right. Let us continue to live, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how much we suffer.